Hey guys, it's your boy M.K.S here, back here with part 3 of my quirky idea, micro, as many of my ideas are, probably most, or nearly all, if not all, of my ideas are quirky. But anyway, as I say, it's your boy M.K.S back in another video. And as I mentioned in part 2, I would love for August to be a positive month. So I hope that August will become like a positive month. And I'd love for the international community to like make August like a peace month and things like that. There's 2 months that specifically love to be peace month. One is August and one is March. Anyway, it's also one of my sister's birthdays today. This video is a bit later than planned, but anyway, I hope she has a great birthday as well. And I'd say whoever's watching this, I wish you the best possible blessings, all being well. Anyway, cracking on with my video. Hope you enjoy it. Please let me know what you think, as ever, what your least and most favourite ideas are, save the best to last, or any other thoughts or comments you have generally. So I'm probably sweating a bit because I just had quite a late shower. So anyway, as I say, I wanted to make this video on Monday because it's like Micro Monday, or Microing Monday and Micro Monday and stuff like that, but because of my patterns and alliteration, but it is technically Tuesday morning. So I'm a bit behind schedule, but hopefully one day this idea will somehow work out as best as it's possible and reach its full potential, especially in helping Indigenous parts of Australasia and Africa in particular. And as I mentioned in part 2 again, also supporting disadvantaged groups as much as possible. Anyway, as I say, please check out parts 1 and 2. And I appreciate your support. If you watch as many of my videos as possible and like them, I really appreciate it, and share them. But please do leave the comments, any constructive criticism, especially to improve to help me to improve, and any which I'll try and take on board and improve if I can, although I make no promises, and also any positive encouragement which will help me to be encouraged. I welcome any of those things. With that being said, anyway, cracking on my list. I'll say this is continuing on from parts 1 and 2, where I covered ideas 1 to 20 in those 2 videos. So here goes. So number 21, I hope to remember all the possible old ideas that I've ever had. And to recap, micro is basically, the idea behind micro is that Microsoft and micro hard. I was thinking, what if there was a micro hard which did the same things that Microsoft did, but for hardware instead of software. In my naive little mind, I suppose. And I thought, what do those 2 words have in common? They both have micro in common. So I thought micro could be for tech, generally both hardware and software and all sorts of areas of tech, like making programs and codes and programming and all sorts of things that Indigenous Africans and Australasians especially could work together on. Other people around the world who are friends of Africa and that sort of thing could help them. And try to remember another thing. As I say, as I also mentioned before, I'd love for the tech industry to work together and get tax exemptions, or the tax they normally would pay and have paid into, basically, generally, sorry, the taxes that the tech industry has paid, possibly, it could even be backdated, and the tax that they will pay in the future, or do pay now, excuse me, could go towards in training up Indigenous Africans and Australasians, which will come back to benefit the tech industry. As I said again in part 2, the main beneficiaries would be the big tech titans, or the people who invested in tech, possibly people like Bill Gates and Satya Nadella and Sundar Pichai, or however you pronounce the name, or whoever owns shares in those companies like Microsoft or Google. They would be beneficiaries, but also Indigenous Africans and Australasians. And if African governments were play their cards right, they could benefit by helping tech companies to invest in Africa, and again in Indigenous Africans and Australasians, and therefore become like a partner towards big tech, the politicians and governments, which I hope will work together to make their countries better, as well as governments in Australasia. Hopefully they will work to make their Indigenous people and people of colour in those countries better, like Australia, the Torres and Strait Pacific Islands, and New Zealand. And I hope to remember, as I say, my older ideas and things like that. Number 22, I hope to look into like how tech can advance and change and improve and things like that as much as possible in the future. Number 23, I hope that to look into all possible ways to like fundraise for tech, like through like music and sports and things like that, as I mentioned before, like different football teams could especially like invest like fundraise to invest in tech and support Indigenous Africans and Australasians in tech as much as possible. Number 24, again, I think that it'd be great if all possible countries in Africa, all of the, preferably all of the 54, 55 countries across Africa would network together to help each other, so they can learn from each other and encourage investment from tech companies, or tech companies to come and train again Indigenous Africans and Australasians as much as possible across the continent. Number 25, again, I think it would be great if politicians across Asia and across Africa and across Australasia talked about what they would do for to support Indigenous people within those countries and areas and regions, like talking about how they will provide free laptops and PCs, mobile phones and tech training and opportunities and things like that for Indigenous people across those countries, as I say, in regions and places, which hopefully will help them with the training and like encourage people to teach them and train them as much as possible. Number 26, again, another idea I mentioned before, I would love for the taxes, that this would be a form of reparations where the tax which is used from tech companies like Microsoft and I.B.M. and Oracle, or all possible tech companies around the world, could be poured back into, as I say, training Indigenous people across Africa and Australasia, so that they can it could be a form of reparations, but at the same time it would benefit the tech companies, but most importantly, I suppose you could argue it would benefit the Indigenous Africans and Australasians. I say most importantly because I think it's important to help people who have often been disadvantaged, and from an anti-imperial point of view and a reparations point of view, it would be great to support them. So I think they should be a priority to be supported, and it'd be great for anti-imperial movements to come together, support Indigenous Africans and Australasians to get reparations. As I say, tech training and training in STEM generally would be a great way to do that. Number 27, again, using my naive way of thinking or an idealistic way of thinking, I would probably call them the main benefiters or benefactors. I don't know if that's the right word, but I think to keep it simple, main beneficiaries, as I say, again, would be the people who invest in tech, the people who own tech, and also possibly as part of their PR, the people who invest in Africa, in tech for Africa and Australasia. But as I say before, Indigenous Africans and Australasians would be the main beneficiaries in many ways as well, or amongst the main beneficiaries, because they would get the training that will help them in the future for the jobs in the future, which are mainly in STEM, especially tech. 28, I hope this will turn many negatives into positives, in the right order. For instance, I say it could help with reparations, it could help with disadvantaged groups, especially, as I say, Indigenous Africans and Australasians, but also disabled people and other people who have been underrepresented in tech historically, so they can be empowered as well, and so they can be empowered, which hopefully will turn negative into a positive, and again, like change the perceptions of African countries like Somalia and Nigeria, Cameroon and places like that, and as well, hopefully it will unite people together, but again, change the perceptions of such places being like backwards or full of crime or whatever. They'll be able to prove haters or critics wrong and show that Africa can, as I say, Africa can do well and do many great things, and cut crime, including cybercrime, or all sorts of crime online. Any crime that happens, they could hopefully cut online as much as possible. Number 29, I hope for my fellow mixed race people to support them, like through mentorship and fundraising. The people who are mixed race who know about tech go and train people in Africa and Australasia, or even if they can't travel for whatever reason, they could do so online. And also people with learning disabilities could go and mentor their fellow learning disabled people across Africa and Australasia, perhaps. And lost my train of thought, but yeah, and I mentioned like Italian football could improve relations with the Black diaspora through through helping them in tech, and they could help in improving Italian football. So it's like a mutual benefit, I hope. And number 30, as ever, I'd love to hear your ideas, and I'm out. Peace and love.